Once upon a time, in a seaside village nestled along the Caribbean, there lived a curious young girl named Sia. Sia loved nothing more than exploring the sandy beaches with her grandmother and listening to fantastical stories every time they went on long walks along the shoreline. Sia was different from the other children in the village. Her hair was a wild tangle of loose curls that danced in the wind. But what truly made Sia stand out was the color of her skin, paler than everyone around her, like the color of the sand at sunset. Unfortunately, the other children didn't see Sia's uniqueness as something special. Instead, they teased her and called her names, making her feel sad and ugly. Sia longed to fit in and be like the other kids. Even when she spent all day at the beach and got the darkest suntan, she could never get dark enough. The only person who saw the beauty in Sia was her grandmother, whom she lovingly called Nana. Nana would wrap Sia in her arms and tell her how beautiful she was.
Nana, why do I look different from the other children?
Nana would smile tenderly.
My darling, you are special just the way you are. The thing that makes you different, your uniqueness is exactly what makes you special. Like the shimmery tails of mermaids, very different from our legs, but oh, how special they are.
Sia would listen to Nana's stories with rapt attention, her imagination ignited. And it is normal to hear their laughter ring out. Nana would speak with her hands dancing through the air, painting vivid pictures with every gesture. Her adventures filled with wonder, and her excitement contagious. In those moments, Sia would forget about the unkind words from the other children. Even from a distance, you could see the love between Sia and her grandmother. One day, the saddest thing in Sia's life happened. Her grandmother passed away suddenly, and even though the adults tried to console her, nothing worked. So she ran away back to the shoreline, where she feels closest to her grandmother's spirit. Here, amidst the vast expanse of the ocean, she can pour out these feelings of loss, anger and sadness that she didn't understand. Her heart broken into little pieces, she wept, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Memories of her grandmother flood her mind, each one bittersweet, forcing fresh tears and more sobs. As Sia wept, she heard a soft voice.
Hello there. Why are you crying?
Sia cried.
My Nana is gone.
Gone where?
The voice asked.
I don't know,
Said Sia very sadly.
but she went to sleep and will never wake up again.
I understand now.
Said the voice.
She is gone to become part of the sea foam.
Sia looked up, surprised, suddenly remembering a story Nana told her about the mermaids becoming part of the sea foam. As the tears dried at the realization that someone else knew that story, she suddenly felt the need to put her toes in the water, just like she did with Nana. As she approached the water's edge, Sia noticed something shimmering in the distance. With excitement bubbling in her chest, she dashed forward. There, emerging from the waves, was a mermaid, her iridescent tail glistening under the fading sunlight.
Wait, a minute. You're a mermaid. My Nana always told me stories about mermaids.
Sia exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. The mermaid nodded, her long hair swaying with the rhythm of the waves.
Nana told beautiful stories. Sometimes I come here just to hear her stories.
Sia was surprised at this.
You know who my Nana is?
The mermaid nodded again.
Of course I do. She had the most beautiful hair, white and fluffy just like the clouds.
Sia grinned, her curiosity piqued.
Yes, she did. I've always thought her stories about her mermaid friends were just stories.
The mermaid laughed, the most beautiful and musical sound Sia ever heard.
No, Nana's stories were true. My grandmother Cora told me so.
Fascinated, Sia peppered the mermaid with questions, eager to learn more about her and the underwater world. As they chatted, Sia couldn't help but notice the colorful scales on the mermaid's tail, shimmering blue and green.
Your tail is so beautiful.
Sia remarked, admiration sparkling in her eyes. The mermaid's smile faltered slightly, and she glanced down at her tail.
Thank you. But not everyone sees it that way.
What do you mean?
The mermaid sighed softly, her gaze distant.
Not everyone understands or appreciates things that are different. Some people dislike or fear anything that looks different.
Sia frowned, her heart heavy with understanding.
That's not right. Nana says you should be liked for who you are, not what you look like.
The mermaid nodded, her eyes brightening with approval and her tail fluttering.
Exactly. It's important to treat others with kindness, even if they look different from us.
As the stars began to twinkle overhead, Sia and the mermaid continued their conversation, sharing stories and laughter late into the night. And as she turned to go home, Sia thought,
I have to tell Nana about my new friend.
Then she remembered that Nana would not be there when she got back, and sat down again on the sand with a heavy heart.
I'm not ready to go home just yet.
She said sadly. The mermaid, noticing Sia's unhappiness, swam closer, her eyes twinkling with mischief once again.
What if I can show you my world, and you can see some of the things Nana spoke about?
Sia's heart raced with excitement and a hint of nervousness.
Can I?
The mermaid grinned.
Of course you can.
Sia's eyes widened with determination.
Let's go!
Without a second thought, Sia dove into the water, her arms slicing through the waves as she propelled herself forward with all her might. The mermaid followed closely behind, her graceful movements like poetry in motion. Then something magical happened. The mermaid touched her, and suddenly Sia had a tail where her legs should be. As they raced across the ocean, Sia felt the excitement of going further than she ever had before. When she saw a rock and shouted,
First to the rock. Wins.
and raced away, the salty spray kissed her cheeks as she pushed herself to go faster than she ever had. Just as the moon reached its highest point in the sky, Sia reached the rock first and shouted in triumph, her new friend right behind her. As they laughed together, she suddenly realized,
Wait a minute, you never told me your name. My name is Sia.
I am called Marina. Come on, follow me.
Sia hesitated only for a moment before following Marina deep under the water. The wonderful things she saw actually did bring her grandmother's stories to life right before her eyes. There was a whole world down here. Beautiful fish, large, colorful coral, and other mermaids too. Sia's heart danced with excitement as she met Marina's grandmother, Cora, a wise and graceful mermaid, whose shimmering tail was silver blue like the moonlight on the waves, and her eyes sparkled. As Marina told her about Nana, she gently touched a seashell on her necklace, while bowing her head with understanding. Cora said,
I know you are sad, but we are never truly gone. We become sea foam. Do you know what that means?
Sia nodded.
Your memory lives on in the sea foam scattered along the shore. In the quiet moments, sea foam whispers secrets of the deep, carrying messages for those who listen.
Cora smiled broadly
Yes, exactly.
and gave Sia the biggest hug, wrapping her up with a feeling of warmth, comfort, and love. Before parting ways, Cora removed the shell from her necklace.
This shell holds the magic of the ocean.
Cora explained, her voice as soothing as the gentle lapping of the waves.
With it, you will always carry a piece of the sea within you.
Marina whispered excitedly.
You can hear Nana's voice in the sea foam.
With tears of gratitude in her eyes, Sia accepted the gift. A sense of calm washed over her like a gentle tide, and as she held the seashell, it felt as though Nana was holding her hand. Sia said goodbye to Cora. As she held her seashell gift tight, Marina guided her back to the surface and said,
You must remember that the shell only works for you.
As they emerged from the water, Sia found herself back where her journey began. She was panting and exhausted but happy. And as she collapsed onto the sand, her legs returned and Marina emerged from the water and said,
Sia, thank you for being my friend, even though I look so different from you.
Sia smiled brightly.
It was easy. The thing that makes you different, your uniqueness, is exactly what makes you special.
As she waved goodbye to her friend, she finally understood what Nana meant when she said the exact same thing. Suddenly there was mayhem as she was unexpectedly bathed in light, while shouts of her name echoed around her.
Sia, here she is.
We found her.
Where have you been, honey?
We've been looking everywhere for you, Sia. Why are you soaking wet?
When she told everyone what happened, the adults just exchanged knowing looks and whispered.
Just like Nana.
She realized no one believed her. But after that night, everything changed for Sia. The kids around her did not tease her like before. Some of them even became her friends. And whenever she needed to hear her grandmother's advice, she would walk along the seafront, at the edge of the sand with her seashell and listen. And other times, usually, when no one was around, she would swim with her mermaid friend, Marina. Even though this happened a long time ago, Sia can be seen exploring the sandy beaches still. These days it's with her granddaughter, who has a beautiful seashell necklace just like her own. Sia is usually laughing and speaking with her hands dancing through the air, painting vivid pictures with every gesture while pointing at the sea. And, if you believe her stories, she has gone on many adventures with her mermaid friend. Thanks for watching. If you want to read along, the link for this book is in the description. See you in the next video.